What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, back with some more boxing. Good news in the sport of boxing. I feel like we are, in the last 2 years, we're getting a little bit closer back to boxing as I remember it. And that's when boxing, before it became this big conglomerate and business, you had old-fashioned call-outs after fights. I feel boxing got soft for a minute. Like became more of a business, and you didn't see as much call-outs, things like that. People forget Marquez called out Mayweather, the Tyson rant where he's like, "Praise be Allah, Lennox Lewis, I'm gonna eat its kids," and I miss that about boxing. So looks like we're kind of entering back into that. Some fighters are more politically correct nowadays. We've seen some great fights, some great matchups, which I really like in the last 2 years, and it looks like Erislandy Lara has issued a challenge to Gennady Golovkin, who is currently in search of an opponent. And he tweeted this: "How about you, Triple G? Me fight you and me, Triple G, fight anytime. Bad boy versus good boy." So I want to explore this. Erislandy Lara said he's game. He's up to fighting Gennady Golovkin. He's told his manager that, and obviously released this tweet to the public on his verified Twitter account. I want to explore this topic, talk about it, and I mean, I'm all for it. I look at it like this. Yes, Gennady Golovkin, in my opinion, is a force. He's an animal, straight beast mode. I like Gennady Golovkin a lot. And if you go back to my old videos, even the videos that date back, I think almost in 2012, I think it was January 2013, so right on the cusp, brand new year. I told you Gennady Golovkin was the dude to watch for. I made a video. It's on the channel still. I don't delete videos. I have no reason to. So I told you I liked him. The only thing I would say, he's very active. He has the punching power from hell. He seems very patient. His body work is something that other fighters should take note of. He just really digs to the body. He does a lot of things right. However, I still want to see him against a true 160 pounder, and not just any 160 pounder, because I think he's going to blow through just any 160 pounder. It has to be a special fighter, a special upper echelon 160 pounder, someone who has some experience. It's probably going to take that, because Gennady Golovkin has tons of amateur experience, and he's making his way through the pros, fighting 4 times a year, so he's getting a lot of on-the-job experience. Just somebody who I feel is special, top tier, because it's clear these other guys who are just kind of middle of the road, the Gabe Rosados coming up in weight and Ashidas, those guys aren't equipped to deal with what Gennady Golovkin brings. So I want to see him fight a true 160 pounder, eventually see him fight Andre Ward. The Golovkin camp has made it clear that they have no interest in moving up at the moment to fight Ward possibly in the future, and I can't hate on that. If he wants to do work at 160, he wants to do work. But the thing is, when fighters are clearly better than their competition at a certain division, people want to see them tested. They want to see him like go up. And this happens to Floyd Mayweather also. You don't feel anyone could beat him at 47. Now people want to see Mayweather fight Erislandy Lara, Sergio Martinez, Golovkin. Some even want to see him fight Andre Ward or Klitschko. I've heard all kinds of crazy stuff. And that's because you don't feel there's that many threats at that division. Now for Gennady Golovkin, I don't feel the same way for that reason. It's not that I want to see him move up to 168 just because I want to see him. I don't think many people pose a challenge at 160, but aside from that, I don't think he's fought the best at 160. And part of that definitely stipulates from them not wanting the fight. I think there's a lot of guys that don't want the fight, because when you sign that name on the dotted line against Gennady Golovkin, you better be prepared to possibly get stopped and or knocked out. That's just what it is. So I can't fault Gennady Golovkin all the way, but again, if you can get a tough, brave soul like a Gabe Rosado to come up from 54, or now a Erislandy Lara to come up to 54, then there has to be somehow, some way, a deal that can be reached with the upper echelon dudes at 160. So if he's not going to fight someone who actually fights at 160, I mean, hell, if Erislandy Lara wants that action, then I'd rather see that than him fight Andy Lee. Andy Lee's already been stopped by Chavez Jr. He couldn't take his punches. I think Golovkin is far more calculated. He has more experience. If you look at Chavez Jr., he didn't have like an amateur background like Golovkin. He didn't have an amateur background, and not saying Chavez has no tools, but Golovkin, he's just a different beast. So I don't really feel a win over Andy Lee does anything for Golovkin. I feel it's just kind of a stay busy fight. Now, granted, Andy Lee is a tough opponent. He doesn't come to lose, but at the same time, I just don't think he's equipped to beat a Gennady Golovkin. I can't envision him beating Triple G. So a win over him would just be like a win over a lot of other guys that Gennady Golovkin's fought. What does it really mean at the end of the day? It's not like when Floyd Mayweather beat, like, you know what I'm saying, like Azab Judah at the time, or when Marquez beat Juan Diaz. It's not going to be that type of win that just like really puts you in a different bracket. Or when Pacquiao beat Eric Morales, it doesn't do that for me. So I'd rather see him, at least if he's going to pull someone up in weight, or he can't find a person at 60. Erislandy Lara, we know he's a clinical boxer, and it'd be interesting to see battle somebody who can potentially match him in the wit department, match wits with him, because there's not really many people in his respective divisions, you know what I mean, looking up or looking down. Well, not necessarily looking up, but looking down or in his current division that I think can match his punching power. So again, it's going to take a special fighter and a thinking fighter to withstand Golovkin. And we know Erislandy Lara is tough. Angulo came in over 170 pounds, put him on his ass twice. He showed that he can get up off the canvas, battle back to win the fight, even though it ended in a freakish way. I give props to Erislandy Lara for even wanting a piece of Golovkin. He fights in the lower weight division to move up and to fight a Golovkin. That's, I mean, that shows you have some balls right there. And for Erislandy Lara, he has to realize that Golovkin's not Angulo. He's a way different animal than that. So I think it could be a good fight. For Golovkin, again, I think it'll be a better fight than a lot of potential opponents. Perhaps even Kirkland, because Kirkland and Erislandy Lara would both be moving from 54. Now, the Kirkland fight could be an all-out war. However, the way Kirkland fights, to me, would favor Golovkin, who is at the higher weight, who obviously has punching power to stop guys at 60. I think that would play, it'd be less of a puzzle, and Kirkland's chance to win that fight would be attrition, just to withstand early what Golovkin dished out, and perhaps just keep coming on and have that relentless pressure. However, the downside to that is you would be going up in weight, fighting a guy with tremendous punching power and not much of a defense. So I think that style is less problematic for a Golovkin versus Erislandy Lara, who again has that, he comes from that Cuban, like this Cuban school of boxing, and he's very technically sound. He's going to provide movement. So to me, I would be probably more, I'm not going to say more anxious, because I like both fights, but they pose way different problems. Kirkland is just going to be a bloodbath, and whoever gets hurt first, or whoever can't withstand the long storm, you know what I'm saying, that's going to win. But Kirkland doesn't have much of the defense. Erislandy Lara is more of a complete fighter. He has the lateral movement, good legs, he has heart, and that kind of stuff. So to me, I think that's far better than Andy Lee, who's really, I don't see him beating Golovkin, and I don't see him being superior to Golovkin in really many departments. He might be taller than Golovkin, but he doesn't have Golovkin's power. He has losses. I don't think he's necessarily going to outsmart Golovkin. So to me, if they're searching for an opponent, instead of fighting another Adama, another Ishida, at least fight someone with a brain like Erislandy Lara. So props to both fighters if Golovkin takes that opportunity to show, like, hey, I can fight this style, and it's still not a problem for me. And props to Erislandy Lara for having the cojones to call him out. Other dudes are scared or don't want to fight Golovkin. They're ducking Golovkin. So it takes a real man to move up, and just like Rosado did, and potentially challenge him. So I'm all for it. If they can make the fight, I'd much rather have that than the Andy Lee fight. Kirkland's out. I guess Kirkland didn't want the fight. They were also trying to have a Daniel Gill fight, and he said there's some kind of conflict with the dates. And I think Gill has been in talks before to fight Golovkin, and it didn't look like he really wants that. Felix Sturm, I think another fighter who doesn't really want to fight Golovkin. Martin Murray, his name has come to the table, and for whatever reason that fight wasn't made. I think he was supposed to be on the undercard, and then he wasn't on the undercard. So, I mean, it's slim pickings. And then you got Peter Quillen, who's on the other side of the fence with Golden Boy, and then the K2 Promotions and HBO and the networks fighting. So who knows if that fight will happen. Plus, Peter Quillen needs to take a softer touch before he would fight, because he had problems with Gabe Rosado in his last performance. So I think he would definitely want to take an easier route than Gennady Golovkin. Same thing with Sergio Martinez after a long layoff. That's good for rehabbing your body and that rest and relaxation. However, you don't want to just jump right in and fight Gennady Golovkin. Let me know what you guys think. Triple G versus Erislandy Lara, if that fight were to happen. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Why? Leave a comment. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.